Cool, thanks for joining us, guys. We're gonna make this available later so people can go back and rewatch it. So, there's been a lot of updates to pooling. As everybody is aware of, they've recently announced on the pooling fact page that they're going to have pooling available in testnet sometime in June. And also, as we know, there's going to be a developer Q&A June 2nd. There will be a separate Q&A for pooling operators, which is us. So we will definitely be attending that. So Marco and I have been spending a lot of time trying to create our own proof of space algorithm, because our main goal with this project, with the Supermine project, is to optimize the software. We're going to build custom built software for specific system specs. And firstly, we're going to produce software just for everybody, just to improve everybody's plotting speed, reduce their number of writes to disk, and not only will they be able to keep up with the net space, but they'll also be able to do so with a reduced an increased lifetime to their SSDs. So that is what we are shooting for. I'm going to let Marco talk a bit about the proof of space work that we've been doing and kind of where we plan on taking that.
Yep. So, in what we're looking at now is creating just more hardware optimized software. Currently, the creating plots is not fully optimal, and there's a lot of places that you can make some time saves. There was talk last week about getting a custom unofficial pooling protocol out. We now think that it would be best for us and the community if we all wait for official pooling protocol. This will allow us to focus more on the optimization side. And if we make an unofficial protocol, we have to put in a lot of work to build something that's only probably going to be relevant for a couple weeks or so. So even though it seems like pooling is getting delayed, I think it's going to be best in our interest and in the community's interest if we continue to work on these optimizations instead of building a pooling protocol.
Right, and even if we released an unofficial pooling protocol, we'd have to go through the same testing that the official team is going through, and so it'd kind of be like duplicating effort that the official team is doing. Marco and I have been working the past couple weeks on building our own custom proof of space algorithm so that we can submit partial proofs back to the pool server, and then the pool server would forward those to the main RPC nodes of the Chia network. So, and we have seen some gains for sure. For example, when they write out all these files in phase 2, anybody that's familiar with the proof of space algorithm will see that in phase 2 they write to all these buckets. So they have left-right tables, and they go through and basically check, okay, is the left table used or is the right table used, and then write that to a separate bucket. And then in phase 3, then they write those to a single plot file. So it seems that there's definitely some places where we can save on some writes. We're also exploring doing a lot more multi-threading so that these, we can parallelize the plotting process a bit more and therefore speed it up, right? if we look at a chart that shows the disk speed as well as the processor speed, we can see that there's not full utilization of those resources throughout the entire plotting process. And this leads to a lot of wait time. Either the CPU is waiting on the disk or vice versa. So we at Supermine, we believe that we can totally optimize this and attract people that have a large amount of space to come over to us so that they have a competitive edge on the rest of the net space. Pavai, do you want to add anything to that?
Yep, and from, I would say, me and Alex busy with user experience, so we are just focusing much on how best experience we can give to them, like tools and more data we can display in terms of numbers and everything. And we are much much focused on plot marketplace for now. I would love to mention that. And maybe I'm just busy with some user stories, so where we are trying the most easiest process to hand over or to plot a new plots for someone. We just want to do that so fast, so easy, so anyone just can come over and can say, hey, I just need 2 or 3 plots, and someone who just wants to sell plots will hop in and say hey, I'm selling, it's a deal, let the transaction happen. So yeah.
Right. So what Pavaya is referring to is that after we launch our pooling protocol, right, and by the time that the pooling protocol launches, we plan to have some further optimizations on top of what we already have for the custom plotter, which will just hook into the Chia GUI as a CLI tool, the same way that the plot manager today, you can just run the CLI tool for creating Chia plots, for running the proof of space algorithm and creating your plots. Now, what Pavaya is talking about is our sort of second phase of our Supermine website, which is going to have a plot marketplace. And I recently bought a server off of a website called Lab Gopher, and I wish I could share my screen in here. Let's see, I make this public. Okay, there we go. So we basically want this to function like eBay for Chia plots, where people can buy and sell, they can bid up plots, and we can sort of, as a community, get a sense of, well, what's the price, what's the cost of a plot. Maybe people can sell partial plots. And if we do create our own partial plots, we understand that there's going to be some issues that come with that. And we realize that we will need to allow people to convert their partial plots easily to full plots. Those partial plots can be taken anywhere. However, to convert them to full plots would be something that we would have to give the users tools to do. And they wouldn't necessarily have to do it in our pool. That is the beauty of all of this stuff that we're creating, is that none of it will force users to be locked into our pool unless they want to gain the advantages that our pool offers.
Yeah, basically with the marketplace, we want to provide a safe and secure environment where users can trade plots between each other, like buying and selling plots between users, and have that be a safe and secure environment that can actually be verified with transactions.
Yeah, the most secure way possible for plot transaction. Currently, maybe we're also focused on that.
Yes, so right now our website is really just going to act as a way to connect to our pool server. And this is something that is right now going to be optional in version 1 of the Chia pools. There's going to be a login protocol, which essentially you go to our website, you log in with some account, you then get a login code, and that login code will be used from the Chia GUI. That will be version 1 of our website. Version 2 will include the marketplace, which again will just serve as a way for people to get a feel on what's the price of a plot. Can I buy from somebody in bulk a certain amount of plots? And certainly being able to buy and sell plots is going to save the buyer a lot of rights and a lot of usage on their disk. So certainly there's going to be a huge market for sure in buying and selling plots.
Yep. And like it gives you more generalized price, like when more than few hundred people trades on some platform or kind of thing, you have more stable price for plot, like open pricing mechanism, same as crypto has. So for plots, we just want to have the most neutral price possible in the market.
Right. I mean, that's all going to be totally organic, how that price discovery happens.
Yeah.
And we will simply provide the tools to be able to do that. There's a couple ways that we can facilitate that buying and selling. One way is that we just have users interact directly with one another. So you would have one user directly do a file transfer to another user. And then the second way is that we could potentially have a cloud service that people would upload their plots to. And of course, we might charge for temporary storage. However, it will enable the user to offload their plots and start creating new ones, which is going to generate more either rewards or they'll be able to sell the new plots that they're creating with the storage that they have. So we believe that this opens up a lot of options for the users, and we're definitely excited to see what people do with this. And we'll at some point even extend it to having APIs so that people can hook their own services into us, right? Maybe there's some website out there that's going to find you the best Chia plot marketplace, and we would have an API that would just hook into us, and then they would be able to upload their files directly to us, maybe even from another website. So that to me is certainly exciting. It's one of the items that we've got on our roadmap, and we mostly just want to focus on opening up options for people that are farming Chia, right? And allow them to push their farming rewards further, to do more things with their farming rewards. And certainly the marketplace could be transacted with Chia. Like you could go and transact Chia on the marketplace. That would certainly be the ideal approach, because nobody has to hook in their bank account or anything. They can just trade they can just earn Chia from the pool and then go and buy more plots so that they can fill up their disk space faster and keep doing that over and over.
So Dr. CS put a question in the chat. He said that no one will ever upload plots at 101 gig if you already have big issues downloading them, and that is a definite issue, since the trading of plots is reliant on both the buyer and seller's internet connection. We do have to consider that whenever someone is wanting to buy or sell plots. Obviously, both parties need to be aware of what speeds they are capable of. Obviously, if someone like in the very small city doesn't have good internet connection,
Right.
they wouldn't really be able to download or upload plots because that bottleneck.
Yes, there is a huge limitation there. However, with internet speeds evolving, we hope that that is something that can be overcome within the next couple of years. I think if you have 1 gigabit per second upload speeds, which, that's really hard to expect. We know that the United States runs on cable infrastructure, which specializes in download speeds, but has terrible upload speeds. So, it's really crazy, the history of how sort of the US has been held back from progressing its internet infrastructure. However,
there is one second use case, like we just users can send pre-filled hard disks, but like we need to verify the plots and stuff. So we are to other ways, the second ways to do that, but maybe it's too early to say. At first I will say you will definitely need internet speeds, and then we will limit the trades, like how much plots you can order. So we will be collecting data from both the parties, like what's your expected upload time, and what's your expected download time from the parties. This is how we'll be matching the orders. So the best people will be able to choose from what is the best for them.
Yep, and again, this marketplace is in the infant stages along with a lot of the Chia network, so it's definitely possible that we can see a shift in how we're thinking about this. Also, what we have for ideas of how to handle these transfers. There's definitely a lot of possibilities, and definitely a lot of possibilities in the other way where maybe it won't make sense to have a plot marketplace, and that's just something we're gonna have to see as we go along.
also, I think it's certainly interesting the questions that Dr. CS asked, which you guys can see in the chat if you go in questions for Q&A, which we will probably close off that channel at some point just so people can see all the questions that have been asked there and all of our responses as well. He asks, how do we plan to handle that? Yeah, I mean, perhaps, at first we can just do file transfers peer-to-peer. It certainly still poses some challenges. Even just doing the peer-to-peer poses challenges of speed and what if the connection gets cut off. So
there's also security risks of doing P2P, so there's a lot of consideration we have to do, and in reality a lot of testing, and that's going to be probably the limiting factor. Is, does it seem reasonable for us to build this ecosystem where you can buy and sell plots only if you have like certain limits of your internet speed. And that's definitely something that could hurt the community in some ways. So we have to look at all angles and see the best way to do everything.
For sure. And no doubt there's going to be other plot marketplaces. I sincerely doubt would be the first market. However, we are trying to take a decentralized approach with everything. So the peer-to-peer model would fit our approach to this whole thing best. So we will keep the community informed as to the progress of that. And right now, the big thing is just getting up the pool server. The pool server allows us to pay the devs so that they can eat and keep the lights on. So that's certainly our first priority. And we want people to be aware that by supporting our pool, they'll be supporting, like Marco said, an ecosystem of decentralized features, enabling people to take their Chia rewards and do things with them elsewhere in the decentralized world. So we'll be detailing that more as time progresses. However, right now we are just focused on the pooling protocol. So let's go through the pooling FAQ really quick and just give people some insight on what's going on with the pooling protocol. And maybe also we can discuss, because we did consider launching something similar to what HPool is doing. However, we were again worried about potential security issues.
Yeah, taking an approach how HPool is done definitely has some inherent security risks, but it also does give benefit to the community of having a pool that they can join temporarily. What we see is that the time it would take for us to build a custom pooling protocol similar to HPool is probably going to take a amount of time that makes it not sensible for us to develop that. Since pooling is expected to be on testnet sometime next month, it definitely spending a week or two developing this custom pooling protocol only for it to be relevant for a couple weeks just doesn't make sense with how we want to build our ecosystem, and it doesn't fit our timeline.
Yeah.
Right, because it just pushes back everything else. We know that we're not going to be the first. We're more focused on the optimizations for Chia farmers than anything else, because we believe that's going to really be the selling point for people to come over and join our pool if they can just get a clear advantage, right, on other people in the net space. Because even if we launch something like HPool, Marco, it doesn't mean that a lot of people would come over and start using our service. Maybe they would say, oh, like I use HPool because it's the only thing, so maybe I would go and join Supermind's pool, but it doesn't really, it's not a good long-term approach / solution. It certainly does put us on the radar, though. I will say that much if we were to launch our own unofficial pooling protocol.
Yeah, it's more of a band-aid for a bruise. So it's just there to cover like the visual problem, but it's not actually doing anything. And in the long term, it's probably just gonna set us back for our other ideas that we have.
Exactly. And as I discussed before, we've been doing a lot of work on the proof of space algorithm, pretty much trying to rewrite that from scratch for just to see some improvements. because how we were looking at this is that these guys are mathematicians. Like the guys who wrote the Chia network and have been developing this thing, they are clear mathematicians. However, you very quickly notice that they're not fantastic programmers. Their code is not super organized, and we think that we can organize it better and write better testing, that we can do better performance testing for different system specs, and certainly we're going to reach out to our community to get some of those those tests done. We're going to find people that have the most common hardware setups and have them test the speed, and perhaps work with them closer to design these things. We believe it's going to bring a lot of value to industrial scale farmers, because they will be looking for any competitive edge. And if those industrial scale farmers come over to our pool, it's going to benefit everybody that's already in the pool. Past a certain point of space, maybe 100 PB, maybe that's 1 EB. The size of the pool doesn't really matter so much, as long as both the large and the small farmers are getting consistent rewards across the board. Our entire user base is satisfied, right? Like, that's what everybody cares about, is that they can get consistent rewards, big farmer, small farmer, and then most likely the pool will just grow organically from there.
So Dr. CS just said that he would like to have a plotting software which would allow him to plot each phase on different hardware.
Oh!
And that's something that we're actually actively looking into. And there does seem to be potential. We do have a specific solution in mind that we're working on testing for. And as that progresses along, we'll be updating the community. But it definitely does seem like certain phases run better on different hardware. So even if you're on an AMD system that has PCIe Gen 4 and you're running the fastest SSD, you're likely going to have slower plot times than an Intel system running on PCIe Gen 3 that has better optimizations for the code. So the code actually does run better on Intel over AMD, and the PCIe Gen 4 benefit from AMD at the moment is not really a benefit. And we see a lot of opportunity that we can actually utilize that extra speed and extra bandwidth. We just have to figure out how to get to that.
Right, so kind of moving on, we've also talked about how we're going to host the pool server as well. We're not entirely sure what the other pools are doing because they haven't really talked specifically about this, and we see the lack of clarity from other pools as far as how are they actually going to execute on building a pool, and how are they going to ensure as close to 100% uptime as possible. We haven't really seen this clarity from other pools, and we are coming out and saying that we are going to host our pool server through a data center. So we're going to have it's not just going to be sitting in my house, and if my electricity turns off for some reason, then everybody is kind of SOL. We're going to actually host this at a data center, so we'll have remote access to it and be able to do whatever we need to it if we need to deploy a new version. However, we are going to have someone else manage it so that there's backup power It's kept at a proper temperature, all of those things, and we believe that will provide damn near 100% uptime for our pool server, and yeah, I think just to provide that clarity around what our approach is for that is very important to our user base.
Like for and we are like planning different geographies and different load balance server.
Right, like we could certainly have pool servers all over the world, and you would connect to the one that is in your geographic region. So I would say we could probably start with one in North America, one in Europe, and one in Asia, and then see how our user base growth is in each of those areas, and then decide where we want to expand more.
And like if you have servers in your region, so like you just get less time to put your share to the network. So like it would be good for all miners from all over the world. Like they will have specific servers in the region. But yeah, like at some point we will be doing that.
But the challenge there is, how do we get all those pool servers to basically act like a distributed system, act as one, right? How do we get all of the pool servers in the different regions to act as one? And I'm not sure if that is something that other pools have tackled or even seen as a challenge, right? How do we go multi-region if this pool server is not correct me if I'm wrong, Marco, I don't think that this pool server is written as a distributed system.
So I think there's a lot of it that's still unknown to us, just based off how much we have seen from the official Chia team. It doesn't seem like it's natively supported, as far as I'm aware, but Dr. CS did just have a good input. He said pools are always exposed to script kiddie attacks. We think that we will see a lot of hacks with the amount of upcoming pools.
Yes.
So it's definitely, we're definitely going to have a secure environment for our servers to be ran in. Obviously, we're not going to fall flat to a DDoS attack or fall flat to someone brute forcing the SSH key or anything like that. So we're going to get a lot of the easy fixes out of the way right away, and anything that we do see happening to other servers, we're definitely going to have a solution for.
100%. I mean, we're basically, like Marco and I were just talking about these SJ. I'm like, okay, we're waiting for this to happen. And when this does happen, we are going to start the search for somebody to do a security audit for us and to come and say, okay, like your all of our keys and everything are secure. Just to go through our Linux server and make sure that we've met all of the security audit items that they would suggest, and go and fix anything that is outstanding that needs to be fixed. And also, if we can make improvements on the security end to the pool server code, that's also a net benefit for our users. And we know that we won't have full transparency on what each pool is run, like what pool server code are they running, right? Like I can put on my GitHub that, hey, this is the code that I'm running, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the actual code that's on the server unless you can trace that whole deployment to the server.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing to keep in mind is, as far as I'm aware, that the users of pools aren't going to be able to see what software is running on the server side. So there's very possible for there to be an attack carried out by the server where whatever info is available from the server, they're like logging that, keeping that in a database, and that's definitely something that we want our users to look out for whenever they're looking at their pools is, are they able to confirm the security? Because we don't want anyone having security issues, and we want our users to be in the most secure environment that they can be personally.
Right, and really the way that we provide this security and this transparency is that we show everything on a dashboard on our website that tells people, hey, this is how many this is how much in block rewards the pool has won in the last 24 hours or whatever the payout period is. And we say, okay, well, if the pool wins 1 Chia and you have 1% of the pool space, then you get 0.01 Chia. So just for people to do those very simple calculations and verify that they're getting exactly what they should be is very important to us. And people should always be able to go and verify that on the blockchain, which I guarantee pools that are not paying what they say they're going to pay, people will figure it out because everything is on the blockchain. You can go and check all of those transactions, and it only takes one person to uncover something for the whole community to wake up and say, oh wait, this pool server's not paying what they say that they're going to pay, like H-Pool, for example, for people to reconsider where they've got their plots sitting. And we're taking a long-term approach with this. There's over 100 pools. There's no way that Supermine is going to stand out and that we're going to get a ton of initial traction. Now, I would say the only way for that to happen is if people recognize that we're going and optimizing the code and we're just keeping that within the pool. We're not going to open source the optimizations that we do because that would kind of take away the advantage that people in our pool have. So with that said, we can answer any questions. If you have any other questions, Dr. CS, we are going to now jump to the marketplace and what's going on the website. I know Alex and Pavai have been working on some initial designs for the website, so maybe you guys can talk about that and what you plan on doing from like the user experience side. Pavai, you there?
Okay.
I guess. Oh, okay. He had his mic muted.
Like,
Okay.
I forgot my mic was on mute. So like I was saying, in long term, we are also planning mobile apps. So like you just can check status of your farm on the go, anywhere you are currently, and you just can check what's the status of your farm, status of your pooling, and so we just want to easify the pooling ecosystem in long term. And like if anyone has any idea about like any suggestions or something, you just guys can drop us anytime, like in UI, UX, like functionality you guys need, right?
Okay, hi, I'm Alex. When it comes to overall design, UI or UX, I'm basically in charge.
Do you want me to introduce you, Alex?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So we're bringing on Alex as an artist, content creator. He's going to, he's offered to take on a lot of stuff, basically any content that we need to develop for Supermine. He's going to be developing all that content. He's been doing video editing. He's managed communities on Discord. He's done animations for mobile games where they need a sort of animated scene. He's done a lot of different stuff, and something I noticed is like he's completely passion driven. Like, yes, you know, you've had to like sort of do the job to pay the bills and that, but there's definitely an element of passion, a lot of stuff that you do. You've also developed the logo for a project called Cerium Sector, which is a Kickstarter game that, I mean, it looked really cool. It was an RTS.
Triple A game that was one of my biggest projects so far. Also I've done many games on Google Play with over 50 million downloads, and I was in charge with basically the whole design. Like, I was basically a project lead. So yeah, I hope I'm a good fit over here. So far I've done some sketches on version 2 of our website, on marketplace and so on, social media and stuff like that. So I'll be bringing as better as I can, like, experience for our users.
Yeah, and I was telling Alex the other day, I said, when in doubt, throw it out. Like, if there's something that you don't think is like really, really impressive, just toss it, because we want people to kind of fall in love with what we're doing. And for sure, like, you know, we talked about this before, like music that we listen to, when you combine the music and the art, that's where like everything really comes to life. And for sure, people's ideas of what the Supermine community is will be represented through what you create. And that's, of course, super, super important. I also want to put it out. I know this is completely off topic, but we're kind of nearing the end of our hour-long Q&A here. We talked to a guy the other day that was bringing up this idea of us having a metaverse. And I don't think we mentioned this to you, Alex, yet, but of having a metaverse for a website, like where our community can go and just talk to each other and meet each other, like in this metaverse. And that would be like an alternate version of the website. So instead of having to go around our website, you could walk around this metaverse and you could like buy and sell plots or see how big our pool is. Like, we could have something that represents the size of our pool, like a big glacier or something. And there's just a lot of possibilities that are opened up by us really just embracing the decentralized world. And that's why, like, I put the tagline is pooling for the decentralized world. Like, people that are coming from a traditional mining background, they probably don't understand the decentralized world the way that some of us understand it. And I think there's a lot of potential for us to really grow a community and like show that we get it. Like, we get crypto, we get this idea of internet money, and also that we understand what the Chia community wants, which people want. Well, for sure now people are doing this for profit because it's more profitable than even Ethereum mining. However, there is a segment of the community which is, you know, very warm to the idea that this is that Chia uses a lot less power in doing its proof of space and time algorithm. And Marco and I were talking about, just before this talk, we were talking about Ethereum versus Chia versus Solana, and like, where does Chia fit in? And it seems like Chia may not be the most green blockchain long term. However, for Bitcoin miners, it gives them an alternative which is much more environmentally friendly than Bitcoin mining. And people can start selling their graphics cards because, the graphics card market is just way overheated, right? So it gives a way for the graphics card market to kind of cool off, and storage to now be the target for the miners that are basically trying to make money off of hardware. And we're seeing that with other storage systems like Filecoin and Storage, and other coins which host decentralized storage. It looks like we're going to see storage as the next sort of frontier of farming, mining. It seems like the storage market has just started heating up. I went to Micro Center yesterday, and I was talking to the guy, and he said that they've had to put limits on how much NVMe storage people can buy from Micro Center. And they've had multiple customers come in and ask to buy out the entire store of storage. So there's definitely a demand for Chia farming. It's definitely not going away, even if it's not as intense of a return as it was a few months ago. It's definitely not going away, and it's here to stay. And we're going to offer what we think are the most ideal decentralized services for those Chia farmers. Number one, optimizing the plotting process, making the plotting process faster, which will net them more Chia rewards in the long run. Number two, providing a marketplace so that people that have committed their storage to creating plots, if they want to for some reason exit the Chia market, they can do that by posting on our marketplace, and perhaps we would even offer a storage solution. We have to see how reasonable that is, for sure, with upload speeds. And then, from there, it just kind of expands. We've got so many more ideas on our roadmap that we're excited to share with people. We are going to release a white paper probably in the next week. And that white paper is going to detail how we are going to differentiate ourselves from other pools, and how we're going to build this ecosystem that is friendly to everybody that's on the inside of the community. And we're only going to offer certain benefits to people that are inside our pool because it helps everybody, right? It's good to know who is getting the pool rewards and what those are going to. And we will be very clear about how we're going to benefit the people that are in our community and continue to grow it, right? We know the net space is going to continue to grow. No matter which direction the net space goes, people are going to get consistent rewards. It doesn't matter the size of our pool past a certain point. It just matters that people are getting benefits that are going to keep them ahead of the rest of the net space. And everything else will kind of work itself out. In that sense, if we're able to A, provide value to the Chia farming market, and B, make it clear to everyone that we are providing this value. And Marco has said this before, like, we cannot just claim that we are getting 50% faster plotting speeds. We need to show that, and we need to test it through our user base, and the most dedicated Chia farmers, get their feedback, and then we can go to market saying that we offer these benefits and show that very clearly. So it seems like we've covered the major topics here. If anybody from the team doesn't have anything else to add, we can wrap it up and go back to work. All right, so I'll take that as a no. You guys don't have anything else to add. If you guys have any questions for us, you can always drop something in Discord. Yeah, I mean, we covered our two big phases, which was getting the pooling protocol out and then also doing the marketplace. If you guys have any questions, you can drop them in the questions tab. Even after the stream, we'll probably close that channel after a couple days if we do get a bunch of responses. If not, we'll just keep it open as long as people are continuing to add questions. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. What do you guys think about doing one next week, so people kind of become used to us doing this, and then people can just pop in and answer questions? I think it kind of helps us.
Yep. That works.
I think it kind of helps us set a direction, because like even we just had one person, but Dr. CS had so many questions that it made it worth it for us to come here and do this.
Yeah, well, for sure. Thank you, bro.
Yep.
All right, cool. I see. Oh, thank you for the Q&A. Thank you so much. Yes, we are going to continue to do that. Number one, because it helps us, and number two, because it helps you guys have more clarity on what the status of things are. We'll try to do these weekly so that people become used to it. I know that a couple people were just popping in and out. But yeah, we will keep you guys updated, and be sure to come with questions to the next one.
See ya.
All right, peace out, guys.
See you.